The top stories tonight in Y News. Russia wants the Philippine government to honor a signed contract to purchase 16 military heavy-lift helicopters. The Department of Justice confirms death of the alleged middleman in Percy Lapid Slay. President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. explains why there are no secretaries yet who will lead the health and agriculture departments. And the United States of America strategic oil reserve being pushed to its lowest level in almost 3 decades. Good evening, Philippines and the world. Today is Thursday, October 20, 2022. Join us in the next hour as we deliver today's top stories around the Philippines and in other parts of the world. I am William Theo. We are also seen in 1,935 satellite monitoring centers nationwide and via live streaming worldwide through the UNTV News and Rescue social media channels. First in the news, the WHO claims that it is too early to put an end to the COVID-19 public health emergency of global concern. And with the spread of new COVID-19 variants in the Philippines, a health expert calls for boost in vaccinations. Asher Kadapan Jr. details why.
The number of COVID-19 cases, especially those who succumb to the disease, is still high. This is despite the comparatively low data on COVID-19 infections in the recent months than on the first 2 years of the pandemic. The World Health Organization explains this as it clarifies that COVID-19 remains to be a global threat.
Last week, the Emergency Committee on COVID-19 met to discuss the global situation and the way forward. The committee's view is that COVID-19 remains a public health emergency of international concern, and I agree.
The WHO further explains that the threat remains, especially with new COVID-19 variants emerging through mutation upon infection. The Emergency Committee instead emphasizes the need to strengthen the surveillance and expand access to testing, treatment, and vaccines, especially to those most at risk. The health experts say all the efforts against COVID-19 may be demobilized if it will lift the public health emergency of international concern for COVID-19.
It is too early to terminate the public health emergency of international concern. There are still too many deaths. There are still too much uncertainty regarding the variant, their pathogenic effect, the immune escape effect.
A local health expert meanwhile recommended that while such alert has yet to be lifted by the WHO, the infection should be controlled as the key against further generation of new variants.
So pag nagka-symptoms ka, sa bahay ka na lang, mag-isolate ka. Yung mga nag-iisip dati na tsaka ako na magpapabakuna pag proven na yan or may CPR na yan, I think dapat magpabakuna na sila kasi after 2 years, alam na natin na effective itong mga bakuna.
Asher Kadapan Jr., UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
Meanwhile, President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. explained to the media why there are no secretaries yet who will lead the Department of Agriculture and the Department of Health. According to PBBM, there are serious problems in the agri sector that he wants to focus on.
The problems are so difficult that it will take a president to change and turn it around. Very deeply embedded ang mga problema na natin sa agrikultura. Ito ay nangyari sa napakaraming taon, kaya hindi ganun kabilis, hindi ganun kadali na ibalik sa ating magandang sistema dati. Kaya I think I am still needed there.
The same with the DOH. The president says he will appoint a secretary if country situation had already returned to normal in the wake of the COVID-19 pandemic.
The same as DA, na maayos na, normalized na. The reason when all of these things happen, kung minsan you do not hear from me, and hindi, nasabi ko yung mga secretary sila ang mag-statement. The reason is, I want people to understand that this is the government's work. Not everything is a crisis. So, inormalize natin ang trabaho ng gobyerno. That is what I am trying to do.
A group of farmers are concerned about the increase in imported rice in the nation. The volume is even higher than the total import from the previous year. Ray Pelayo tells us why.
As of October 13, imported rice in the country reached 3 million metric tons. This is higher compared to more than 2.7 million metric tons from January to December last year. The Federation of Free Farmers is alarmed on the matter because it will directly affect farmers' produce.
Pagka sobra-sobra po ang pasok ng imported na bigas, magpapababa po yan lalo ng presyo po ng ating palay.
The Samahang Industriyang Agrikultura or SINAG appealed to the Bureau of Plant Industry and importers to not allow importation during harvest season.
So far, nakiusap tayo sa BPI and mga importer na huwag na pumasok by this coming October to December habang nag-harvest ang mga magsasaka. So I think may balita naman tayo na hindi na nag-apply yung mga importer ng bagong permit. So this will help the price to stabilize.
In Kamuning Market, there are retailers who sell rice at a lower price. They are directly buying rice from local farmers.
Yung kasing mga ibang bumibili, ayaw nila ng maitim. Pero sa totoo lang, yung hindi naman lahat ng maitim pangit. Pares niyan, di ba, parang kanyo maitim. Pero masarap yan.
UNTV is still waiting for the response of the Department of Agriculture on the matter. Ray Pelayo, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
And in other news, Tropical Depression Obet may exit the Philippine Area of Responsibility or PAR this weekend, according to Pag-asa. In their weather bulletin, Pag-asa says Obet was last spotted 650 kilometers east of Basco, Batanes, with maximum sustained winds of 45 kilometers per hour. It also has a gustiness of up to 55 kilometers per hour. Obet is expected to leave PAR on Saturday evening or Sunday morning. However, the tropical depression is still forecast to intensify gradually and may reach tropical storm category by Friday evening or Saturday morning. Wing signal number 1 is raised over Batanes, Babuyan Islands, and the northeastern portion of mainland Cagayan. Several towns in the province of Cagayan have been placed under a state of calamity in the wake of Tropical Storm Neneng. According to the National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council, towns under state of calamity include Santa Ana, Sanchez Mira, and Santa Paracedes. Meanwhile, amid the onslaught of the tropical depression Obet in the province, Cagayan Provincial Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council has deployed all of its assets and personnel. The Social Welfare and Development Office of the province of Cagayan has enough stockpiles in the warehouses to assist the possible affected residents.
Although there are build-up ng mga tubig, but it's not that threatening pa naman. Somehow dito sa PIDRA, we will be discussing with the MDRIMOS and the local chief executives for them to decide on the preemptive evacuation. Hindi tayo basta-bastang nagpe-preemptive evac, sir. So it has to be a decision of the local chief executive.
In Bayambang Town, Pangasinan Province, a portion of the Carlos P. Romulo Bridge collapsed this afternoon. In a statement on social media, Mayor Nia Jose Quiambao stated that the bridge fell at 3:37 p.m. in the barangay Wawa. At least 2 trucks were involved in the incident, the mayor continued. The passengers have already been transported to a hospital by rescuers. The mayor recommended drivers going via Bayambang from Camiling, Tarlac to use other routes and stated that they are now working with the Department of Public Works and Highways or DPWH.
And for the news abroad, the United States Strategic Oil Reserve is being pushed to its lowest level in almost 3 decades. Joselito Liquido will tell us why live. Yes, Joselito, good evening.
Good evening, Mariel. U.S. President Joe Biden announced the release of 15 million barrels of oil from the country's strategic reserve following deep production cuts by the Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries, or OPEC. The move will complete the promised 180 million barrels that was approved by the Biden administration in March amidst the worldwide energy crisis linked to the war in Ukraine.
With my announcement today, we're going to continue to stabilize markets and decrease the prices at a time when the actions of other countries have caused such volatility.
As of Wednesday, there are only about 400 million barrels of oil in the reserve, but the White House stated that they will immediately restock once oil prices are at or lower than $67 to $72. Mr. Biden once again criticized oil companies, accusing them of profiting from the worldwide energy crisis by keeping pump prices higher than they should be.
My message to the American energy companies is this: you should not be using your profits to buy back stock or for dividends. Not now, not while a war is raging. You should be using these record-breaking profits to increase production and refining.
In June, the American Automobile Association, or AAA, reported that the price of petrol averaged more than $5 a gallon for the first time ever. Currently, it is averaging only at $3.87 a gallon. The release of oil from the strategic reserve is considered a pivot for the U.S. president, who, upon taking office, promised to reduce the country's reliance on fossil fuels and replace them with more renewable sources. Mariel?
Thank you, Joselito Liquido, for that live report. Russian President Vladimir Putin has demanded an all-Russian military effort as Moscow struggles to defend itself from Ukrainian advances. Putin ordered the creation of a coordinating council in order to meet the needs arising for their special military operation under Prime Minister Mikhail Mishustin. The president also declared martial law in Ukraine's 4 regions, Donetsk, Luhansk, Kherson, and Zaporizhia, that they proclaimed as annexed. Yet the steps to be taken under this martial law and its impact are unclear, especially beyond the much tighter security measures that are in place in these regions. Meanwhile, Ukraine's presidential advisor Mikhailo Podolyak stated that Russia's move does not change anything for Ukraine and that they will continue to the liberation of their territories. We'll share more global stories with you later, but for now, back to you, William.
Yes, thank you, Mariel. Russia has urged the Philippines to keep its commitment to the agreement to buy helicopters since the Philippines abandoned its agreement deal during the war between Russia and Ukraine. Given the roughly 2 billion peso down payment previously made by the Philippines, according to the Russian ambassador to the Philippines, Marat Pavlov, Russia is continuing to fulfill all the responsibilities to furnish the Philippines with military helicopters. Pavlov added that the contract for Russia is valid until now. In August, Philippine Ambassador to the U.S. Jose Manuel Babes Romualdez confirmed that the country, under the leadership of former President Duterte, scrapped its chopper purchase deal with Russia. According to Romualdez, it was still a cheaper option for the country to just let go of its initial payment than suffering from the sanctions that could be imposed by the U.S. and its Western allies. Meanwhile, according to President Bongbong Marcos, he will no longer pursue the military chopper deal with Russia. Marcos said the government has already secured an alternative chopper supply deal with the United States.
In any case, meron na tayong kapalit. So, unfortunately, we made a down payment that we are hoping to negotiate to get at least a percentage of that back. But the deal as it stood, maybe at the beginning or in the middle of last year, has already has already been canceled, and we have, as I said, secured another alternative supply for those helicopters that we need.
A group of motorcycle riders recommend implementing a speed limit on exclusive motorcycle lanes along Commonwealth Avenue by November. JP Nunez will tell us why.
An exclusive motorcycle lane in Commonwealth Avenue is a welcome development to the riding community. Atoy Santa Cruz, the director of the Motorcycle Philippines Federation, said exclusive motorcycle lanes would result to a more disciplined traffic where motorcycles will not swerve in the highway as they want. The motorcycle group believes this could lead to a safer road not only for motorcycle riders but also with other motorists. However, the group suggests that authorities should consider imposing a speed limit on exclusive motorcycle lanes to avoid road accident.
Dapat naman dyan, lagyan natin ng speed limit. Kasi baka mamaya mayroong isang pasaway dyan, tumatakbo ng 40 sa loob ng motorcycle lane, may tumakbo ng 80. Sagit lahat yung mga mababagal dyan. So dapat meron ding kanyan speed limit na ilagay. Kung we're talking about road safety,
Metro Manila Council approved yesterday to put an exclusive motorcycle lanes along Commonwealth Avenue. Based on their plan, it will be placed on the third lane of the road, which markings will be painted in blue, while second lane will be dedicated for public utility vehicles, which will be painted in yellow, and the outermost lane will be for bicycles, which will be painted in green, while remaining lanes will be for private and other vehicles. The MMDA intends to start the dry run of the new road scheme by the end of November.
Halos parehas po yung travel speed. However, yung primary concern at consideration ay ang road safety. So hopefully po with regard to the lanes being exclusive now po, magiging mas disiplinado po ang mga tao na dire-diretso lang po ang daloy po nila sa Commonwealth Avenue.
JP Nunez, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
The petition challenging the postponement of the barangay election will be the subject of oral arguments before the Supreme Court tomorrow. Dante Amento explains why.
The Supreme Court has set 6 issues for discussion during the oral arguments tomorrow. This is after a petition was filed by Attorney Romulo Macalintal questioning the constitutionality of Republic Act 11935, an act postponing the 2022 barangay and SK elections. Attorney Macalintal believes the law is allegedly unconstitutional. The Congress has no power to postpone the elections.
Kapag ka nag-postpone ka ng halalan, ang ibig sabihin, hold over yung mga barangay officials. At ayon sa ating Korte Suprema, kapag ka hold over ang isang opisyal, iyan ay in the nature of an appointment. Sa ilalim ng ating saligang batas, ang mga barangay officials ay dapat elected and not appointed.
Macalintal argued the election should be pushed through.
Nakahanda ang COMELEC. Bilyong-bilyong piso na ang nagastos ng COMELEC. Sasayangin ba natin yun?
Among the issues set by the court for discussion, whether the COMELEC has still the logistical capability if the elections will push through on December 5, 2022, whether the Congress has the power to postpone or cancel the barangay elections.
It's high time na magkaroon po ng interpretasyon ng saligang batas. Sadya bang may kapangyarihan ng Kongreso na mag-postpone ng election? Number 2, sadya bang kasama sa pagpupospone ng barangay at SK, ang barangay at SK, o ito ay limitado lang sa ibang posisyon? Maganda meron pong interpretasyon sa provision na yan.
If the enactment of RA 11935 violates due process and right to suffrage, whether the law violates the one subject, one title rule, if the power to postpone the elections is solely for the COMELEC, and whether the postponement of this year's elections will amount to a legislative appointment of the incumbent barangay officials. Dante Amento, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
President Bongbong Marcos stressed that his administration is dedicated to promoting the welfare of the nation's veterans of war. Additionally, the president vowed to intensify peace-building initiatives around the nation, particularly in conflict-affected regions. Nel Maribohok will tell us why.
President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. honored the courage and heroism demonstrated by the Filipino war veterans during the World War II, which he said were instrumental in the peace and freedom that the nation enjoys today. Gracing the 78th Leyte Gulf Landings anniversary at the MacArthur Landing Memorial National Park in Palo Leyte, the president said his administration would always look after the welfare of war veterans.
This government will always continue to look after the welfare of our war veterans. We cannot allow our memories to lapse. We must always remember that this was the best of Filipinos.
President Marcos Jr. urged Filipinos to remember and honor the bravery and sacrifices of war veterans. The president further vowed that the government would always advocate for peace and unity by strengthening domestic peace, building efforts especially in conflict-affected areas.
Externally, we will continue to pursue the enhancement of our relation with all our neighbors towards ensuring security, addressing global issues, and facilitating now the post-pandemic growth, addressing climate change, and all the existential challenges that our country faces.
The Marcos administration will also continue to support initiatives that will not only preserve the country's historical and cultural sites, but will also deepen the Filipino people's sense of national identity. Nel Maribohok, UNTV News and Rescue, we serve the people, we give glory to God.
The Indonesian government banned all over-the-counter syrup Wednesday. Health workers are also prohibited to prescribe all liquid medicines temporarily. Marvin Delfin tells us why live. Yes, Marvin, good evening.
Good evening, Marielle. Nearly 100 children in Indonesia died from acute kidney injury, prompting the Indonesian individuals to ban all syrup and liquid medicine prescriptions that could be linked to the rise of acute kidney injury deaths. Indonesian health officials are still investigating whether the liquid medicines have anything to do with the case, as the Gambia government reported a similar increase in acute kidney injury death among children that was linked to paracetamol syrups. The Gambia government said these paracetamol syrups contain excessive levels of diethylene glycol and ethylene glycol. Cases of AKI in Indonesia were reported from 20 provinces with a total of 206 patients as of today, most of them children under 18 and toddlers of under 5 years of age. Meanwhile, the Health Ministry of Indonesia has purchased specialist medicines for addressing AKI spike in the country as the investigation continues. Marielle?
Thank you, Marvin Delfin, for that live report. The UK's Home Secretary Suella Braverman has handed in her resignation letter after breaching government rules this Wednesday. Braverman is one of the two high-ranking ministers who were removed from their posts in less than a week under British Prime Minister Liz Truss's leadership. From London, United Kingdom, here's Giona Privado to tell us the details live. Yes, Giona.
Yes, Marielle. Britain's Home Secretary Suella Braverman has resigned just this Wednesday over a technical violation of government laws. This now leaves the UK Prime Minister Liz Truss losing two of her most high-ranking ministers in less than a week and have been replaced by those who do not support her leadership. Upon confirming her withdrawal, Braverman mentioned that she had breached government rules by sending an official document to a legislative colleague from her personal email. Braverman also voiced her serious concerns regarding the state of the UK government. British Prime Minister Truss appointed former Minister Grant Shapps as the new UK Home Secretary. Jeremy Hunt replaced Kwasi Kwarteng as the British Chancellor of the Exchequer after being sacked by Prime Minister Truss over mini-budget shambles. Meanwhile, just after hours of her departure, Braverman chaos broke loose as lawmakers argued and jostled due to the uncertainty of whether the vote on fracking was a confidence vote in the Prime Minister's cabinet. Back to you, Marielle.
Thank you, Giona Privado, reporting live from London, United Kingdom. The World Health Organization has announced a temporary shift to a one-dose strategy from the standard 2 doses for cholera. Paul Gatchalian will tell us why live. Yes, Paul?
Marielle, the World Health Organization has recommended 1 dose instead of the 2-dose regimen for cholera due to vaccine shortages and rising outbreaks around the world. WHO Director General Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus addressed this in a media briefing on Wednesday.
The current wave of outbreaks is putting unprecedented pressure on the stockpile. As a result, the 4 agencies have decided to suspend the 2-dose strategy in favor of a 1-dose strategy so that more people receive some protection from limited stocks.
The global rise of outbreaks and limited access to water due to the increase in droughts, floods, and other factors have also raised the risk of contracting cholera. The WHO assures that the 1-dose cholera vaccine strategy is effective, stating that it is far more beneficial to supply 1 dose of vaccine in a larger scale than nothing at all. However, this means that immunity length is reduced, mainly in children, compared to the standard 2-dose vaccination, which can last for 3 years. Currently, 29 countries such as Haiti, Malawi, and Syria are battling large outbreaks of cholera, Haiti leading with 32 cases and 18 deaths. Back to you, Marielle.
Thank you, Paul Gatchalian, reporting live. And those are the reasons behind the news in other parts of the globe. I am Mariela Toza, reporting live from Perth, Australia. Good evening.
Justice Secretary Jesus Crispin Remulla confirmed this afternoon the death of the alleged middleman over the killing of broadcaster Percy Lapid Mabasa. Remulla identified him as Crisanto Villamor Jr., who died last October 18 at 3 p.m. The cause of his death is not yet certain, hence an ongoing autopsy on the body by the National Bureau of Investigation is ongoing.
He's a PDL, person deprived of liberty, which means he was been sentenced already. But I have no idea about his criminal record. Hindi ko alam.
In other news, Senator Jinggoy Estrada's statement on K-dramas and other foreign films and series drew ire from social media this week. However, the senator already clarified that he is only airing his frustration on the lack of support on local films. But why are Filipinos more into K-dramas and other international movies? Eileen Cerudo explains why.
Filipinos have been first introduced to foreign entertainment due to the influence of the countries that colonized the Philippines. Professor Crisanto Regaldo Jr., Vice Chairman of Department of Sociology and Behavioral Sciences of De La Salle University, said most of the concept introduced to the Philippines, such as the damsel in distress and action movies, came from Hollywood films. This helped in shaping the Filipinos' taste for entertainment content.
Babalik tayo dun sa colonial past natin. Pero yung modern entertainment industry natin, dala-dala yan ng mga Amerikano. So, ano yung unang mga napanood ng mga Filipino ay may kinalaman dun sa kultura ng mga Amerikano.
However, as time progressed, the entertainment industry, even at a global scale, changed. The South Korean entertainment industry was able to captivate the world audience, including Filipinos. According to Professor Regardio, the COVID-19 pandemic also helped K-dramas to reach a wider audience through online video streaming.
Medyo interesting yung nangyari ng pandemic na we were confined, diba? At home because of the imposition of the general community quarantine. Tapos wala din tayong opportunity para to watch movies dun sa cinema. And nabigyan ng opportunity yung, I think, yung South Korean entertainment industry to dominate the international market. Yung mga online streaming na mga sites. No?
He also explains that there are other aspects to look into in order to understand Filipinos' passion for K-dramas and international movies. One is to look into the history of the country, the behavioral aspect of the situation, or whether which social class consume the most entertainment content. The status of the local entertainment industry in the country might also be affected by politics or government policies such as taxes. Meanwhile, the public has mixed opinions of whether banning K-drama or international films and series will benefit the local entertainment industry.
Sa Filipino film, okay, maganda naman. Pero kung i-compare sa foreign movies and shows, makikita talaga yung difference sa quality.
Pabor ako dun sa ano na yun kasi nakikita ko sa mga kabataan nga ngayon na masyado na sila malapit sa mga dayuhan na mga palabas, mga teleserye, K-drama, ganyan, na hindi na natin na-enjoy yung mga gawa natin nga. Eh, sabi nga, kung Pilipino ka, mahalin mo yung sariling sa atin.
Para sa akin, hindi. Kasi sa way na yon, sa pagbaban ng mga international movies or films, o sabihin natin yung mga series na yan, nabibigyan ng limitation yung imagination natin.
Eileen Cerudo, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
Our kasangbahay, as the world faces these trying times amid the pandemic caused by coronavirus, we are inviting everyone to join the global prayer for humanity.
Good day. I'm Brother Eli Soriano of the members of the Church of God International. I want to invite you to join us in a minute of prayer every day to pray for humanity and the whole world as we go through these perilous times. While safety measures like washing of hands and strengthening of our immune systems may help us through this horrible predicament, there is still no precaution or cure more powerful than God's mighty intervention. And we need His intervention now more than ever. It doesn't matter what religion you are in or what denomination you belong. This is an invitation for all the people around the world who cares for the future of their family, friends, loved ones, and humanity as a whole. Everybody is welcome to pray with us. For more details, you can check out the description box below. Thank you very much, and I hope to hear from you soon. May God bless you.
And before we close, we will leave you with a word, giving glory to God from the book of Psalms, chapter 40, verse 4. It says, "Blessed is that man that maketh the Lord his trust, and respecteth not the proud, nor such as turn aside to lies." And those are the reasons behind the news, October 20, 2022, reasons we deliver to you as they unfold. I am William Theo. Because we need to know, we will always ask why. We serve the people, we give glory to God.